The atmosphere at Forrester Creations has been nothing short of apocalyptic over the past few weeks. Between Hope Logan Spencer's shocking defection to launch her own rival line at Logan Creations and the violent, bloody brawl at the Bikini Bar that left family patriarch Eric Forrester with a severe facial injury, the legendary fashion house has been bleeding from 1,000 cuts. Yet, amidst this unprecedented corporate and personal chaos, one person has been sitting back, basking in the glow of what he perceives to be a total, unmitigated victory. That person is R.J. Forrester. For days, R.J. has been riding an incredible high, fully convinced that he has masterfully orchestrated the downfall of his greatest rival and secured his place as the golden boy of the Forrester dynasty. Sitting in the plush, luxurious confines of the Forrester Creations CEO office, RJ has been gloating with an insufferable level of smugness. In his mind, he has played the game perfectly. He successfully provoked Will Spencer into a blind rage at the Bikini Bar, and when Will swung that fateful punch, RJ cowardly ducked, allowing the blow to land squarely on the face of his elderly grandfather, Eric. Instead of taking responsibility for his part in the violence, RJ immediately spun the narrative, painting Will as an unhinged, violent monster while positioning himself as the innocent victim and the dutiful, protective grandson. His manipulative tactics worked flawlessly. Will was banished from the family, arrested, and sent spiraling into a drunken depression, while Electra Forrester, horrified by the violence, permanently ended her relationship with Will and fell right into RJ's waiting arms. To RJ, life could not possibly be better. He has eliminated his romantic rival, claimed the girl of his dreams, and with Hope Logan out of the picture, he believes he is the undisputed future of the company's design team. He views himself as the untouchable heir apparent, the son of Ridge and Brooke who can do no wrong. He spends his days in the executive suite, casually sketching uninspired designs and treating the legendary fashion house as his own personal playground. He is completely blind to the fact that his actions have nearly destroyed his family, focusing only on his selfish triumphs. He believes that his position is absolute, that his talent is unmatched, and that no one in the building possesses the authority or the audacity to challenge his newfound supremacy. However, RJ's delusion of grandeur is about to be shattered in the most spectacular and humiliating fashion imaginable. While RJ is busy admiring his own reflection and patting himself on the back for winning Electra's affections, the heavy wooden doors of the CEO office suddenly swing open. There is no polite knock, no announcement from a secretary, and absolutely no warning. The temperature in the room seems to drop 10 degrees as a familiar, imposing figure steps over the threshold. It is none other than Thomas Forrester. Having been absent from Los Angeles and living abroad in Europe since late 2025, Thomas has returned, and he has not come back to exchange pleasantries or offer brotherly hugs. Thomas Forrester stands in the doorway, radiating a cold, focused, and terrifyingly calm fury. The European hiatus has seemingly sharpened his edges, stripping away any lingering patience for the petty, destructive drama that has infected his family's legacy. He looks at RJ not as a beloved younger brother, but as a pest, a pampered child who has been allowed to run rampant in a sacred space. The silence in the room is deafening as RJ looks up, his smug smile faltering as he processes the sudden, imposing presence of his older brother. Before RJ can even utter a word of greeting or ask why Thomas is back in Los Angeles, Thomas makes his move. Without a single word of introduction, Thomas stalks across the room and violently slams a thick, heavy stack of documents directly onto the center of the mahogany desk. The loud smack of the papers hitting the wood makes RJ physically flinch. These are not just any documents. They are a comprehensive portfolio of RJ's most recent design sketches, production notes, and creative briefs. They are covered in aggressive red ink, with entire concepts crossed out, structural flaws circled, and glaring, amateurish mistakes highlighted for all to see. Thomas has clearly been doing his homework before making his grand entrance, meticulously reviewing the work RJ has been producing while pretending to be a lead designer. When Thomas finally speaks, his voice is dangerously low, dripping with an absolute, unadulterated contempt that cuts straight to the bone. He does not yell, he does not need to. The quiet intensity of his rage is far more intimidating than any screaming match. Thomas informs RJ, in no uncertain terms, that he has reviewed the recent designs and found them to be an absolute embarrassment to the Forrester name. He points to the glaring errors in the sketches, highlighting RJ's fundamental lack of understanding of haute couture, fabric draping, and structural integrity. Thomas brutally deconstructs RJ's work, exposing it not as art, but as the lazy, uninspired scribblings of an influencer, playing dress-up in a world he does not truly comprehend. But Thomas does not stop at critiquing RJ's lack of artistic talent. He escalates his verbal assault, targeting the very core of RJ's character and his behavior over the past few months. Thomas declares that while he was away in Europe, working and studying the true essence of fashion, RJ has systematically turned Forrester Creations into a pathetic daycare center. He accuses RJ of treating the multi-million-dollar international fashion empire as a backdrop for his petty, high school-level personal dramas. Thomas is disgusted that RJ has spent his time instigating fights, chasing after Elektra, and engaging in a pathetic rivalry with Will Spencer, all while the actual business of designing clothes and protecting the family legacy was left to rot. The confrontation reaches a boiling point when Thomas brings up the incident at the bikini bar. If there is one thing Thomas Forrester respects, it is the family patriarch Eric Forrester. For all of Thomas's past sins and complicated history, his reverence for his grandfather is absolute. Thomas leans over the desk, invading RJ's personal space, and delivers the ultimate, devastating blow. He looks RJ dead in the eye and calls him a coward. He explicitly calls out the fact that RJ intentionally provoked a physical altercation with Will Spencer. And when the fists started flying, RJ cowardly ducked, allowing their elderly grandfather to take a brutal, bloody hit to the face. Thomas's voice trembles with a terrifying, righteous anger as he asserts that a man who would dodge a punch and let his grandfather suffer the physical consequences does not possess the spine, the honor, or the integrity required to stand in the leadership ranks of Forrester Creations. He tells RJ that his actions were not clever, they were not strategic. They were the actions of a weak, pathetic little boy who refuses to face the consequences of his own toxic behavior. RJ is left completely paralyzed by the onslaught. His usual charm, his quick wit, and his manipulative spin are entirely useless against the cold, hard truth that Thomas is delivering. RJ stammers, his face flushing a deep, embarrassed crimson as he desperately tries to formulate a defense, perhaps preparing to cry out for their father, Ridge, or their sister, Steffy. But RJ's hopes for a savior are instantly extinguished. Stepping out from the shadows of the doorway, having silently witnessed the entire brutal evisceration, is Steffy Forrester Finnegan. Steffy's presence in the room changes the dynamic completely. As the co-CEO who has been drowning in the PR nightmares caused by Hope's defection and the family's public scandals, Steffy is exhausted, ruthless, and entirely out of patience. She does not rush to RJ's defense. She does not scold Thomas for his harsh words. Instead, Steffy stands tall, her arms crossed, offering her full, tacit support to Thomas. Her silent, icy glare confirms everything Thomas has just said. She knows Thomas is right. RJ has been a massive liability, a distraction, and a coward. With Steffy's unspoken endorsement backing him, Thomas delivers the final, lethal strike to RJ's inflated ego. He does not ask RJ to step down. He does not suggest a reassignment to the basement or a temporary leave of absence. Thomas points a firm, unwavering finger toward the door and demands that RJ pack his personal belongings and vacate the premises immediately. He fires his younger brother on the spot, stripping him of his title, his office, and his unearned sense of superiority. Thomas declares that the era of RJ treating the company like a vanity project is officially over, and that true artistry and discipline are returning to the building. Furthermore, Thomas makes a monumental announcement that will send shockwaves through the entire fashion industry. With Hope Logan having abandoned her namesake line to start a rival brand, the hope for the future division has been left in a state of limbo, with Zende Forrester Domings briefly, and perhaps foolishly, hoping to take the reins, but Thomas shuts all of that down. He officially announces that he is taking back full, absolute control of HFTF. He is reclaiming the brand that he helped build into a global powerhouse, intending to strip away the Logan influence and rebuild it with pure, unadulterated Forrester talent. The humiliation RJ experiences in this moment is absolute and all-encompassing. He is not just being fired, he is being exposed, dressed down, and thrown out by his own siblings, who look at him with a mixture of pity and profound disgust. The narrative he worked so hard to construct, the story of the innocent victim and the triumphant hero, crumbles to dust in the face of Thomas's relentless reality check. RJ is forced to gather his meager belongings under the watchful, unforgiving eyes of Thomas and Steffy. He realizes with a sinking, nauseating dread that he cannot manipulate his way out of this. He cannot flash a dimpled smile and make the consequences disappear. As RJ takes his agonizing walk of shame out of the CEO office and down the long, glamorous corridors of Forrester Creations, the gravity of his situation finally sets in. He is leaving the building in absolute disgrace. The employees, who once catered to his every whim as the boss's son, now avert their eyes or whisper behind closed doors. He has lost his job, his status, and his dignity in a matter of minutes. While he may have temporarily won the affections of Electra Forrester, one has to wonder how she will react when she learns that her supposedly heroic boyfriend has just been exposed as a talentless coward and unceremoniously booted from the family empire. Back in the executive suite, Thomas and Steffy stand united, a formidable force of nature ready to clean up the catastrophic messes left behind by the recent corporate wars. Thomas's return marks a massive, aggressive shift in the power dynamics of Los Angeles. He is no longer the erratic, obsessed man of his past. He is a focused, ruthless visionary who is determined to protect the Forrester legacy at all costs. With Thomas back at the helm of HFTF, Katie and Hope over at Logan Creations are about to face a level of creative and strategic competition they could never have anticipated. The implications of this explosive confrontation are vast and far-reaching. How will Ridge Forrester react to his eldest son brutally firing his youngest son? Will Brooke Logan Forrester unleash a maternal fury upon learning that her precious RJ has been thrown out into the cold by Thomas and Steffy? And what will become of Zende, who once again finds himself pushed aside by the sheer gravitational pull of Thomas Forrester's talent and ambition? The board is set, the pieces are moving, and the war for fashion supremacy has just escalated to a terrifying new level. One thing is absolutely certain: the days of playing games at Forrester Creations are over. Thomas has returned to restore order, art, and discipline, and he has made it painfully clear that he will not tolerate weakness, cowardice, or mediocrity from anyone, not even his own flesh and blood. As RJ steps out of the Forrester building and into the harsh Los Angeles sunlight, he is no longer the golden boy. He is an exile, forced to reckon with the devastating consequences of his own arrogance. The drama is only just beginning, and we cannot wait to see how the rest of the Forrester and Logan families react to this seismic shift in power.